It's quarterfinal Saturday here at the Southern Conference Championships in Asheville, North Carolina. We start out with the #1 seed, Bucks of ETSU, against VMI, the Keydets, the 9 seed. Here's how we've arrived at our first game of 4 on this Saturday at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville. VMI, they made a conference tourney record 18 three-pointers in rolling past Samford in a doubleheader on Friday night. And they get ETSU, followed by Mercer, Western Carolina. Wofford won last night as well, pulling past the Citadel, ending a 7-game skid. They meet their rivals Furman. And then UNC and Chattanooga caps things off on what is always a great Saturday of basketball here in Asheville. And hi, friends, and welcome in. With Dean Keener, Pete Hannity with you. So game #1, you see the 9 seed VMI against #1 seed ETSU, and right away you think, pretty big disparity, but during the regular season, while the Bucks won both games, they were tight. Yeah, absolutely. Not so fast, my friend, in that 1-9 matchup. VMI was close in both. In fact, in Lexington, in the last game, they were within 4 points in the last couple of minutes. Just weren't able to get over the hump. Keydet's going to have to spring some threes, but ETSU is the class of the Southern Conference. Coach of the year, they've got versatile guards, and they've got bigs. They've got Jake Stevens, a big who can step out. That 18-point, three-point effort last night, well, he was front and center of that. He made a third of them. Yeah, career high 24 points. Made 6 threes. He was 6 of 7. At 6'9", he can stretch the floor, but he also does things. He picks and pops into screen situations for his teammates. He can rebound at over 5 a game. He is a really good player. He's going to be key here this afternoon. A VMI team with those three-pointers made last night, well, it really built a working margin. They led by 34 at one point in the second half against Samford. They come in on the season hitting 36% of their threes. They'll need to make a bunch today, and that's because ETSU, Dean, as you said, they are the class of this league. They went into Baton Rouge and destroyed LSU outside of the conference, and Bo Hodges, the junior, has been a big part of what they do for a long time. Yeah, first team all SoCon. His stats bear it out. You know, you see he can rebound from that guard slot. His value, though, is at the defensive end. Aaron Summers, the third member of our crew, is courtside. Aaron? Thanks, Pete. ETSU head coach Steve Forbes said he isn't worried at all about any pressure being the #1 seed. The team has dealt with those high expectations all season as the preseason favorite. In fact, his players hold themselves to a very high standard of play. And I'll tell you what, they are playing in what feels like a home court advantage right now. There are a lot of navy blue and yellow fans in this arena. Yeah, Aaron, depending on how fast you drive, you can get from the front door of this building to the city limits of Johnson City in less than an hour. The turnover forced by Miles Lewis, but then he promptly gives it back to the Bucks, who go for an 11th straight win in the series today against VMI. They're 51-14 all time, but that second game, Dean, you mentioned up in Lexington a few weeks ago, went down to the wire, and VMI actually led by 6 at the break. Davian Williamson, he's picked up the scoring of late for the Bucks, and he gets the first points of the day. Well, that matchup zone that VMI employs really has given ETSU some problems in both of their games. You know, what it does is it kind of neutralizes some of the perimeter shooting, but ETSU still able to go inside. And with Dean Keener and Aaron Summers, Pete Hannity with you back in Asheville. Let's give you our building blocks of the game, presented by General Shale. For VMI, it is all hands on deck. They need everyone focused and playing their best, and they got to keep shooting. They've got to make some threes to spring the upset for ETSU and keep defending. They're the best defensive team in the league. And stay in the moment, right? There are no mulligans this time of year. Kramer backing in on Hughley. A physical battle. Tries to pivot one way, then the other, gets the roll. Tyler Kramer off the bench has 4 points. He had 8 in the first meeting in Johnson City, a 6-point VMI loss. And ETSU, rightfully so, feels they can play Kramer or any other VMI post player one-on-one. So what that does is those post plays for VMI are going to have to look to score because the perimeter is going to be locked up. Williamson looks to penetrate, little teardrop runner. Davian Williamson, another player whose role really has increased as the year's gone on. Last time out against VMI, he had 20 points, and he puts the Bucks back up by 2, coming up on 11 to play. Half #1 of game #1 on this quarterfinal Saturday here in Asheville. Drive to the bucket. Parham can't get the roll. Flying in. Battle for the rebound. Conway scrapping. And on the floor, Hodges, a held ball. The arrow will keep it.
in the VMIN. A lot of Bucks fans here think there should have been a whistle for a foul. Timeout on the court. We've got a 2-point game. Bo Hodges and ETSU trying to win another SoCon title. Joe Hughley stepping up so far, inside and out.
Welcome back to Harris-Cherokee Center. ETSU with a 16-14 lead over VMI in the first half of play. I am joined by Manio Mitchell. He is a world champion, silver medalist in track and field. And Manio actually got a start at Western Carolina. How did your time with the Catamounts set you up for your future success?
Humble beginnings. I had a great coach there, great support cast with my teammates and things like that to kind of push me to the highest limit that I could go. So it's definitely been beneficial going on professionally now.
Speaking of that highest limit, you made international news when you broke your leg in the preliminary race with Team USA at the Olympics. How were you able to bounce back from that, and what are you looking forward to in the future?
Physically, it was fine. Mentally, it was very, very tough. But again, having that support system and people around you that really push you to be the best that you can, you kind of don't want to give up on them as well as yourself. So it's been a journey for sure.
And we'll see you in 2020 Olympics.
Oh, most definitely. Training for Tokyo right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Aaron, thank you. Manio Mitchell, another one of the very prominent athletic alums from Western Carolina. They've had a couple of guys in the past couple of decades play in the Super Bowl. Back to action, 16-14 our score, a feed, and Stevens trying to get it to Conway, a turnover. That is Jerome Rodriguez, and had things worked out better for him from an injury standpoint, he might be a candidate for Player of the Year, or right in the hunt when they made the announcement last week, but an injury-plagued season due to a lingering foot injury.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he was a first-team all Southern Conference selection a year ago. Terrific rebounder, 14 double-doubles as a junior. A real presence inside, and has just not been able to be healthy.
Patrick Good knocks it down, falls down, and now he's got a chance to make it a 4-point play. So back with the ball, ETSU. Let's continue the point that Aaron brought up earlier, in that an ETSU team that you look around their lineup and they could probably have a 17, 18-point game of guy. Absolutely. A number of players could do that for them, but they spread the wealth, and you really look at their box scores and you don't see a leading scorer too often for several games in a row, the same guy.
No, and as much as Steve Forbes is the coach here because they won the league and won 27 games, that's part of being the coach of the year also, is managing those egos.
And his roster since he got there have always been deep in talent as well. Tisdale off balance, trying to beat the shot clock, gets bailed out. They'll get the foul on Evie.
That was a bang bang. He got that off just in the nick of time.
Yep. And the team chemistry is thus a very big part of what ETSU does. And Aaron with more on that.
Absolutely. That team chemistry started developing over the summer when the Bucks went on a European tour. Coach Forbes said that they had so much fun together. They just really enjoyed that extra time together, and it's carried out throughout the season. Everybody plays really hard for each other because they just have such a fun time together.
And a lot of schools, when they go on their European trips, they'll go to just one country and they may move around. They visited several countries, and there was actually a very key reason for that, for the future of these players. Steve Forbes says, look, my guys are going to go play pro, but they're not going to play pro stateside. They're going to go play in Europe. So while I've got them, I want them to see as many different countries as they can, because they could end up going to play basketball in one of them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I don't know that a lot of coaches think through that. As talented his lineup is, he may have a G League guy, but he's not going to have a bunch of NBA players. So yeah, there's money to be made and experiences to be had in European basketball. So good for him to expose them to that. To your point, generally coaches will go to one country.
Playing for a final shot. Williamson with 5 to go before the half. Drives the lane, made it look easy. The lead is 12, and that's how we arrive at halftime. The ETSU Bucks, they're the #1 seed. They've known all about going deep into this tournament and playing for the championship under Steve Forbes. And in game 1 here this weekend, it appears they're on their way to continuing that kind of push. Aaron Summers visiting with the head coach of the Bucks, Steve Forbes. Aaron?
Coach, I know that three-point defense has been a focus all season. You're holding your opponent to 30% right now. How have you been able to contain them from outside?
Well, I think we've done a great job communicating on the perimeter. Our guys are flying around. We're pretty long on the perimeter. We've got good contests. They've got a couple wide open looks. They've made them. for the most part, we've been able to contest.
What do you need to focus on to continue to increase this lead?
And I think we got to play better offense. You know, we've missed some wide open shots, but defensively we've been really good. We got to play better offense.
Thanks, Coach.
This conference had a 30-win team a year ago, the Wofford Terriers. The ETSU Bucks, if they make it a sweep this weekend, they'll arrive at 30 and have a ticket to the dance punch once again. A 12-point advantage at the break. VMI fans celebrated a second straight year of getting a win at the Southern Conference Tournament last night with the Keydets' triumph over Samford, but pretty much all ETSU down the stretch in the opening half so far today. With Dean Keener, Pete Hannity back with you here in Asheville. Great atmosphere around us. Almost capacity crowd here in the building for ETSU with other fans coming in. That first half, I think ETSU especially running on all cylinders now with a Hodges available and a Rodriguez, as wasn't the case for both games this year against VMI. I mean, we see the abilities, so many different ways they can get you on both ends of the court.
Yeah, and I think Steve Forbes echoed that to Aaron on the way out. He was really pleased with the defense, held VMI to just 9 made field goals, forced him into 10 turnovers, and he'll take that again. Offensively, look, I didn't think they were bad, but as a coach, you always want a little bit more, so I'm certain that they talked about some tweaks.
Now, there was a point earlier in the opening half when VMI enjoyed a lead of as many as 3 points. Travis Evie, the SoCon Freshman of the Year, got off to a good start.
Yeah, he was able to get to the basket and finish. They were that was the biggest problem, is VMI had some point-blank looks. ETSU, well, they spread the wealth. Nine players played, 6 scored. Rodriguez, good to see him get in there and finish after that block. Williamson, the driving layup. Tisdale, the same. And then I thought the player of the first half for the Bucks was Joe Hughley. I mean, he had 11 points, including that trail 3.
Aaron is going to visit with Dan Earl, the head coach of VMI. Aaron?
Thanks. Coach, 10 turnovers, 3 assists in the first half. What do you need to do to fix the disparity in those numbers?
Yeah, you just said it. We have to take care of the ball better. Certainly we're not making shots, but credit ETSU. They're playing very physical with us. So we have to get the ball going downhill and then make better decisions. We've settled for some pull-up jumpers rather than spraying the ball or finishing layups. So be stronger with the ball and continue to make good decisions.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, Dan Earl knew it would be an uphill battle. You look at the 12-point deficit, probably more of a mountain over the final 20 minutes for his team. We come back with our second half after this.
It's in contest. I think the big thing right there is you see points off turnovers. 10 VMI turnovers turned into 11 ETSU points. That's part of the difference right there. Again, Dan Earl said it best. They got to make some shots. And it's not just threes. They got to finish at the rim against the more physical and bigger Bucks, and then they can't turn it over.
Isaiah Tisdale, that's 8 straight points for the second-year Buck, the junior college transfer, who was a 2-time All-America on that level at Vincennes in Indiana. And the biggest lead so far, 14 points. Backdoor cut. Stevens threw it to the wrong team. Turnovers were not the friend of the VMI squad in the first half, and that's their 11th of the game. That matches the entire number for them against Samford. Another strong move to the hole, that time by Williamson. Steve Forbes unabashedly and without any hesitation or any feeling as if he has to apologize for it, he says he's a junior college guy. He likes to go get junior college players like Trey Boyd, for example, because they're talented. A transfer or two doesn't hurt either, like Gassan on the putback.
Watch it here again, the inside out. The defense collapses following the ball as it goes into Rodriguez. Give him credit for finding his teammate. Trey Boyd III makes it look easy, the one drip.
And another one falls from long range, this time by Camden Kerfman.
That's great vision right there. I think that skip pass caught ETSU off guard. And it's awoken the VMI contingency behind their bench. 8-point game. Now,
Boyd, just when VMI had pulled within 8. Oh, he's a silent assassin from long range is Trey Boyd. That hung up there for a while. Building on his game scoring wise, he now has 12.
That's the thing. You talk about Boyd, you talk about Williamson, and here comes Good and Hodges. They just keep coming at you. Great skip pass. Kerfman is ready on the catch, able to get it off, but the answer at the other end by Trey Boyd III.
And then Gassan committing his fourth foul, the 7-footer, with his team trailing by 13 points. Another great season in the Southern Conference this year. So many wonderful storylines, Dean, and well, you just look around all the different headlines of this league beginning back in non-conference play.
Yeah, and you know, we call them upsets, but were they really? I mean, I think the Spartans are better than Georgetown. At home, away, on neutral floor, ETSU, and that win at LSU has really continued to have staying power as people talk about a possible at-large if they don't win on Monday night. Wofford beating Carolina, but boy, Jordan Lyons, what a great career, right? All-time winningest Paladin. We've talked about ETSU leading the conference in attendance. We haven't talked about is the new commissioner who has continued to do really good things and pick up where John I. Marino left off.
Jim Schaus, a great background in athletic administration, athletic director at some major college programs, and of course also a tie to the Southern Conference. His dad Fred, a former athletic director in his own right, and a longtime coach both of West Virginia when they were in the SoCon, and they had a pretty good guard named Jerry West, and those two were also a tandem with the LA Lakers, the elder Schaus Fred and Jerry West. Not a whole lot of time to waste underneath the basket. Conway, 7 on the shot clock. Parham, hesitation, kicks it to Conway, too strong, and Boyd comes down with it. And are moving on to semifinal Sunday. 70-57 victors in the opener of our 4 games on quarterfinal Saturday here in Asheville. VMI season comes to a close at 9-24. ETSU, yeah, they were number 1 coming in with a 16-2 SoCon record, and they hold seed and move on to our next round.
That gives them win number 10 in a row. Their fan base will continue to grow as we enter the semifinals tomorrow. Yeah, just a really complete game by ETSU, who, by the way, had to compete against a VMI team. A lot of credit to Dan Earl and his squad. Quick turnaround after winning last night, having to play the noon game. Couldn't knock down enough threes, a few too many turnovers, thus a 13-point loss. But a lot of kids coming back to build on. There's some real positives for this VMI program.
I'll tell you, as you see the remainder of the bracket, this building holds roughly 7,500 for basketball. There had to be at least 5,000, maybe more, ETSU fans in this building for this game, and that's right around their average per game at home in Johnson City. ETSU's Bucks are moving on. Next up, Mercer at Western Carolina. Join us for that wherever you are. For Dean Keener and Aaron Summers, Pete Hannity saying so long.